Everyone knows that as soon as a new piece of tech comes out, the last generation is obsolete and dead. Who wants to use last year's headphones? Ugh! An iPhone from 2024? Gross! Today, we're going head to head with the latest and greatest tech versus a just single generation old to find out, should you be saving yourself some dollary dues and buy last year's shit. Okay, this one's not even fair. Do I really have to do the fold?
Yes, you do.
Okay. We're gonna compare the Galaxy Z Fold 7 with the Fold 6. I was a Samsung Z Flip flippy boy for many years. I always thought the Fold was too heavy, too expensive, and too dumb. Until the Fold 7 came out. Does that make sense? Flippy boy versus foldy boy?
Yeah.
Look at the difference between these phones. Like, it's not half as thin, but it feels half as thin. The Fold 7, when you close it up, is basically the same weight as an average smartphone, except that it has a whole inside screen. Let's talk about the Fold 6, because even though this phone is dramatically inferior in every way and I hate it, I can try to say something nice about it. It made them make the Fold 7. It does have the under display camera. There are a couple of pixels that look a little bit strange. So there's a camera underneath that. The problem is though, is if you try to use that camera, it looks like dog doo-doo. It also,
has S Pen support,
Okay, sure. It also, I don't like the aspect ratio. The Fold 7 is a little bit wider. I believe this is 21:9, this is a little bit taller. They also have a major difference when it comes to the cameras. So the Fold 6 has, I will say, outdated cameras even for when this came out in 2024. The Fold 7 has the same 200 megapixel sensor to something like the Ultra or the S25 Edge. The Fold 7 single-handedly convinced me that this form factor is the right one.
All right, rich boy, there's one thing that you didn't talk about.
What else do I need to say? Look, I mean,
How much does it cost?
For context, Fold 6 was $1,900 when it came out, right?
Yeah.
So this one's $2,000. So like $100.
But is that a fair comparison today?
Of course, what do you mean? How much would I pay right now for a Galaxy Fold 7?
Pretty much full retail at
$2,000. How about the 6?
If you are trying to buy a brand new Z Fold 6 today, most places just don't have.
They threw them all in the garbage.
Of the one place that I found that still is selling a brand new one, which is Best Buy, it is pretty much retail at $1,900.
So that was never gonna be sold, got it.
If you're going to buy a Fold 6 right now, it is gonna be used. You can very easily find one at $800, $900.
Wait, it's half off in a year?
Yeah.
It's still not that great of a phone. If I'm being honest, price entirely aside. I don't care if it's free.
No. Okay, I think you have a lot of goggles on right now because let's be brutally honest. These are not wildly different phones.
They are so different.
Come on, be fair.
Fine, buy the Fold 6 at half the price or less.
Heck yeah, boys.
Still an okay phone.
Heck yeah, boys, we did it.
Now this next one may be just a wee bit controversial. The Meta Ray-Bans.
Oh my God, you glass hole.
Look, here's the thing. I understand that not everyone's a huge fan of a camera on your face live streaming your every move to Mark Zuckerberg's private grotto. However, to me, as someone who wears glasses, there's a lot of advantages that I get out of these. So first of all, let's start with the first generation. So these are outfitted with transition lenses, which means that I don't have to carry a pair of sunglasses around or whatever. I can walk outside and they will automatically tint. The real advantages to Meta Ray-Bans are the fact that they have a camera and they have quite good audio.
Oh, you mean stuff that's in your phone?
Look at my hands right now.
I'm looking.
The idea is that you can use your voice to just ask simple questions and it will be able to not only respond, but also you can use the camera. Hey Meta, look at this and tell me what you see.
I see a blue and white dinosaur figurine on a wooden shelf.
If I want to be in the moment, I'm playing with my kids or whatever, I can just tap and hold the button and then I don't have to touch it. I don't have to think about it, right? Then I've got these great videos, POV.
I would argue that that's not living in the moment.
I think so. No, it is.
Yeah, I would agree.
No, I really think it is. Versus reaching in your phone and then looking at the whole experience like this. Actually, let me switch over to the second
Should we
generation.
acknowledge that that huge thing on your face is a mic for the glasses? So
What
far,
mic?
we haven't.
What?
You look like if Clark Kent played League of Legends.
Let me move over to the second generation Meta Ray-Bans. The other things I like with these glasses. is the fact that they actually have really good audio quality. I'm like at the park watching the kids, I can be listening to a podcast at a low volume where I can still pay attention to see what's going on, but also can hear it or music or whatever the case is. And like, it actually sounds pretty good. How about we just watch some This Is? It'd be easy.
No.
Do you want to trade a pet for a lawnmower?
I totally understand if you don't actually need glasses, this is a harder sell. But for me, I like having glasses that do other things. Let's talk about new versus old. Okay. The biggest difference here is that the newer glasses have slightly better video, so they can go up to like 3K resolution as opposed to like 1080p. The big thing though is battery life. As much as I liked the first generation, these would not last a day. And when I say these wouldn't last a day, I mean like these wouldn't last a day doing nothing. The Gen 2 have essentially twice the battery life.
Let's pretend that I'm okay with the invasiveness. They're very expensive. And that's another thing that I don't.
I would disagree with that, good sir. Have you looked at what regular Ray-Bans cost? These do so much more than that. And they're like what, $300?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Like $300-ish.
But the Gen 1s.
Gen 1s with way worse battery life.
Surprisingly, nobody's really discounting the Gen 1s. It's still basically like $320. So if you want to buy it refurbished,
yes,
from Meta, those will be $240-ish. If you want to kind of go away from the Meta refurbished, whatever, and you want to buy it like on eBay from just a guy, you can find them for like $200-ish.
I think this is a case where the new actually makes sense. The only real difference here is the fact that the battery actually lasts. Now you might look at these two iPhones in my hand and say, Austin, why are you holding the exact same phone twice? Which is a great segue to the introduction of the iPhone 17 versus the iPhone 16. There are some differences. Most notably, the iPhone 17 has an always-on display and a 120 Hz display. Do they stand on their own? Holy shit. Unlike the Pro phones, which as soon as like an iPhone 17 Pro comes out, Apple dumped the 16 Pros in the ocean. But the base model phones typically stick around. So when the iPhone 17 launched, at $800, it kicked the iPhone 16 down a peg. So this is now a $700 phone, which with a $100 difference, seems like an actually pretty close bet. The thing though that's actually the biggest upgrade between the two of these phones that everyone can realize are the cameras. 17, 16. 17, 16. Don't get them, oh what the hell? I got one damn hair. So if you put the iPhone 17 beside the iPhone 16, the front-facing cameras are significantly better on the newer phones. The iPhone 17 has a square sensor, which means that you can easily not only shoot vertical, but also horizontal without having to rotate the phone. It's a wider lens, it's also a higher quality sensor. And I've used it to like create content. It actually I think looks really nice. So the ultra wide on these cameras are also improved on the 17, so the macro mode should be a little bit better. This is dumb. I don't know why I'm doing this. Now, I don't want to overhype the differences between these two phones. The only other major difference between these phones is that the iPhone 17 has a newer processor and has a bit better battery life. When you add all that stuff up for $100, I kind of think this iPhone 17 is worth it. I'm just gonna shoot just every angle. iPhone, iPhone, not iPhone.
But what if we started talking about used prices?
Ooh.
Keep in mind that the 16 is still only just 1 year old.
Correct.
It's still in like the mid 500s.
Okay, my suggestion is if you're gonna buy an iPhone, the $100 difference is normally worth it to get the new phone. You're just getting a lot more, not a huge amount, but you're getting like a substantially better device. I think it's worth spending the extra $100. What might be the most interesting comparison we do today is going to be between these two laptops. So on my right side, we have the Surface Laptop 5, and on my left side, we have the Surface Laptop 7. And while from the outside, these look very, very similar, I think this is a perfect analogy for just how far the PC space has moved over the last few years. This Surface Laptop 5 is powered by a 12th generation Intel Core processor. However, this is powered by a Snapdragon X Elite. The difference in performance, the difference in battery life between these two laptops is huge. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that like this Surface has something like twice the performance, twice the battery life.
No, it is.
It's pretty damn close.
It's, according to Microsoft, it's 50% more performance.
There's a lot of good stuff here. This has a great trackpad, so it actually has a haptic trackpad. It's not OLED, which is one of the only downsides to it. But if you put these two side by side, the Intel laptop has pretty noticeable fan noise. The Snapdragon laptop, you never hear the fan. I know that a lot of people are upset that Windows 10 is losing support, but I will say, that if you were even thinking about upgrading laptops, get such a better experience. You gotta tell me that this Surface Laptop 5 is worth $33 and a bag of peanuts. Otherwise, I'm buying the Qualcomm powered 7.
The Surface Laptop Copilot Plus PC 13.8 is minimum $1,400.
Okay, wait. These things are regularly discounted, and you also get the X Plus version, which is basically the same thing. Like, you could get a Surface Laptop 13.8 for like $1,000 or something. I'm fact checking
yeah,
you.
don't
I don't
even-
trust you and your biased opinion on how my new tech is not amazing.
How is it biased? That's the MSRP.
It's really slow.
All right, how's that?
Wi-Fi's a little slow. Don't
How's
worry.
that? You sure about that? Because my laptop's pretty quick.
It's $1,200 MSRP, but $1,000 on Best Buy right now. How about? And I want an Intel-powered Surface Laptop 5.
They're pretty cheap.
Ooh.
You can get it for pretty much like in the $400 to $500 region.
Ooh.
And so this is the problem that we keep running into.
I'm gonna still go with the new laptop on this. I
Okay.
know that sounds aggressive. I actually think this is a case in which this is so much cheaper because it is that much worse. You don't have to agree with me. I don't care if you agree with me, but I have an opinion. And my opinion is newer is better, baby.
No. Oh my God.
They're both salty. I think at this point, the upgrades in a smartphone year over year are kind of incremental, right? But I think audio is an area that's still moving fairly quickly. So for headphones, we're gonna be putting the Sony 1000X Mark Vs compared to the Mark 6s. I know for a fact the Mark 6s are better, but I also know that Sony tend to discount the last generation a lot. Let's start out with the Mark 5s. One thing I do not love about these is it has a little weird like origami case, so these don't fold. The Sonys are, first of all, reliable across the board. There's a lot of things that these do well, and they're also fairly lightweight. These also have touch sensors on the ear cups, right?
Yes, they do. And so you do gestures. So you do like tap, cupping, up, down, left.
I will say that's one of the things that, and I know the Mark 6s have these as well. I don't like gestures on my headphones. Let's just give these a try. So we'll start out with the Mark 5s. I don't want a tutorial. No, what? You can't skip the tutorial? Now, these do have custom EQs. So actually, Ken was using these before, and he actually did a custom EQ setting. I will say that's actually a thing I do with almost all Sony headphones. So right now I'm in ambient sound, and it sounds fine. I'll say I can hear.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
It's not bad, the ambience is fine. Let's go ahead and do the noise canceling. Okay, that cuts right through. Wait. Oh, that's really loud. Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm like, I can hear that. I would say good noise cancellation. Let's listen to some music before we switch over to the Mark 6s. Woo, that's loud, wow. Okay, generally speaking, these are a pretty strong set of headphones to go against. So the Mark 6s are pretty much brand new. These came out a few months ago. Most importantly, the Mark 6 has this great little like magnetic clasp, there's no zipper. Oh, I can immediately tell the transparency mode's better. Say something.
Hello, how are you
saying
doing? We're
something, that's
saying
for
lots
sure.
of things.
This transparency mode is like a solid A. And then noise cancellation on. That's the same volume from before.
Yep.
I hear the high pitched. All of that low stuff is almost knocked out. Doing the back to back, these are definitely worth more. Woo! It's better, it's not dramatically better. The only things I can knock against both of these headphones is the fact that neither support USB-C audio, and I don't like either of the touch sensitive things. I really wish we just had physical buttons. I want to reach over and just go click, click. Now, last time I checked, the 1000X Mark 6s were $450. Now, if I remember right when the Mark 5s came out, they were $400 retail, but I'm assuming that you can get them for a lot less than $400.
Oh, yes. You could probably find them for like $300.
New. I'm not paying under $150. Like, these get an easy win. I like the Mark 6s in a vacuum, but just, Sony update these things every, like 2-3 years or whatever, and they're decent upgrades, but they slash the price on the previous generation so much, and that's not even talking used.
You can get them anywhere between $130 to $170, legitimately.
Brother. Okay, yeah. Okay, buy one generation old headphones, unless you don't value $1. In which case, sorry that you
In which
have...
case, why are you watching this video?
Yeah. Congratulations, Mr. Richie Rich. Unfortunately, we couldn't source a Wii U for this comparison, so we got the next best thing, which is the Switch 2 versus the Switch. The Switch was obviously tremendously popular and tremendously sort of revolutionary when it comes to the handheld space. The Switch 2 is a solid but less exciting upgrade. So significantly more powerful, and obviously there are going to be games that are going to land on the Switch 2 that will not run on the original Switch. But here, toward the end of 2025, those games are a bit thin on the ground. If you just look at these two side by side, there is actually one major advantage, not counting price, on the Switch, which is the screen. The Switch OLED screen is absolutely better than what you get on the Switch 2. The Switch 2 has a 1080p display, 120 hertz, yada, yada, yada. But like, which one of these looks better to you? Because I'll tell you, to me, the Switch looks better than the Switch 2. As soon as you plug it into a TV, as soon as you actually get up close with it, the frame rate, the graphics are far inferior on the Switch. But when you consider that this, presumably on the used market, is significantly cheaper, there's a pretty decent argument to buy an existing Switch. You also could, of course, buy a regular LCD Switch, you could buy the Switch Lite, but the Switch 2 is the way forward.
Well, I think the biggest impediment to most people, this thing is expensive.
It is. Here's the thing though. Here's a bet that you need to make. In the past, consoles come out and they get price cuts. But we didn't really see that with the Switch. And I would probably take the guess that the price of the Switch 2 will be going up in the future, not down. In some ways, it might make more sense to buy it now, but the Switch 1 has seen price increases, which make it, I would say, impossible to recommend new. You should be looking at the used market. So let's start with the Switch Lite. What does the Switch Lite go for on the used market right now?
If you don't care about condition and you're like, oh, just a functioning one, you can get one for $100.
That's worth it. What about the LCD as well as the OLED? What do these things run?
The LCD is a little bit more all over the place. It really kind of depends, but like low hundreds to $200.
The base launch model actually works pretty well as a docked console. If you want something for handheld play, the OLED starts to make more sense. Now these, last time I checked, were in the like high $100 range, maybe low $200 range.
I think you're probably about right.
I think you can legitimately make an argument for every single version of the Switch. I know I need to pick, but it totally depends on what you want to do. Like almost every version of the Switch, I could recommend to someone depending on their needs. Maybe the lesson here is go buy yourself a Switch. Which one? It don't matter, baby.
Why did you go to that voice?
I'm the Joker, baby. Buy yourself a Nintendo Switch. So what do you think? Is it worth it to buy brand new tech, or should you get something that's one generation old? I think in a lot of cases, the price that you save by buying the older stuff is totally worth it, but there's also a real argument that some of this new stuff is so much better. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, ring-a-ling that ding-a-ling. Until next time, my friends, I'll see you on Mark Zuckerberg's private yacht, or perhaps his grotto, or maybe the metaverse. Nah, actually, no, I don't, no one's there.